Hello, I'm Bonnie from the St. Leo University macroeconomics class. Today we'll look at the mysterious case of the shrinking bag of groceries. It's a mystery that's affecting consumers worldwide. In short, we'll take a look at what can be done about rising food prices. To analyze this mystery, we know that prices are approaching 2008 record high levels, which caused economic upheaval worldwide. Consumers today pay 37% more for a basket of basic foods than they did last year. Fuel prices are rising, unemployment continues, populations everywhere are angry, and high food prices are a major contributing factor. Costs are spiraling for agricultural goods. Growing prosperity in China, India, and other developing nations has led to more demand for meat and higher-end food items. Rising food cost is now the weakest link that could literally topple poor and unstable nations. What's causing the rise in prices? Well, many factors, from weather-related disasters and fuel costs to more people demanding more to eat, and the inability to supply what's needed. One interesting note is that crops grown for ethanol have not yet entered into the equation. U.S. farmers so far have been able to increase food production to offset what is going into ethanol production. But that could change if ethanol production increases and more of the food crop needs to be diverted. Brand name product prices are out of control. To disguise the rising price, clever marketing techniques are often employed. You probably haven't even noticed. Bottom line is you're getting less bang for your buck. Many companies are still using the same size package, but are actually putting less product into it and charging more. Case in point, take a look at a jar of Skippy peanut butter. Looks the same, but you'll note a deep crater in the bottom that is equivalent of 2 less ounces. Clorox bleach is now 3 quarts rather than a gallon. Scott tissue still has 1,000 sheets, but the sheet size has shrunk. When you purchase meat, you may be paying for up to 15% of water solution. Another clever tactic used by grocery stores is packaging the best-looking items on top. You may be paying for meat that actually has older and fattier meats in the middle. Same thing for bags of fruit. The companies make claims that the product packaging was reduced to protect the environment, but it's actually done to enhance profits. A study by Nielsen Company confirms that 30% of all packaged goods in America have downsized package contents in the past year alone. Here we have a chart with comparisons using average prices found in stores nationwide. The lower prices on the right indicate store special sale items that I found when shopping. So you can see the comparison between 2010 to September 2011 and how everything has risen. You'll note that about the only product that has maintained price stability are eggs. Everything else, prices for bread, bacon, coffee, cheese, and many other staples are significantly higher. In comparing prices over a 10-year period, the graph on the left reflects commodities such as dairy products, oils, cereals, sugar. Note the 2008 price spike, and we are rapidly approaching that, and sugar is at an all-time high. On the right are predictions of where prices will be for food in the coming decade, as compared to years 2001 through 2010. We are looking at increases from 20 to 30% on everything. If we look at prices for grain crops alone, you can see again the huge price spike that took place in 2008 that sparked a global food crisis, and how we are trending toward that again in all areas, in wheat, in corn, and in soybeans. What is this doing globally? Well, in the past, price spikes were event-driven. Decreased production and higher prices resulted, say, because of a bad frost or a flood or hurricane. But it was typically resolved with the next harvest, as you can see in the graph on the left. Now, we are facing irreversible trends such as aquifer depletion and loss of cropland that can't be replaced. Look at what has happened in Saudi Arabia in the upper right graph. Their consumption is way up, but they can no longer irrigate cropland, so now they must import their food. That contributes to tightening supply. Same thing in China in the graph on the lower right. Look at the enormous spike in consumption, but production cannot even begin to satisfy demand. They are overpumping water, and because of the rising middle class, more and more roadways and houses are being built and land depleted. The future picture is not bright if things continue as they are unabated. Supplies continue to tighten, loss of cropland, limited irrigation expansion, global warming causing droughts and floods, and continuing deforestation. But demand will continue to grow because population growth and economic development will continue, and that means overconsumption. To solve this case, we need a complete reappraisal of how to feed the world. We must balance future demand and supply to ensure that food prices are affordable. We have to ensure stability in food supplies, protecting the most vulnerable goods from volatility. We must achieve global access to food, and that means better distribution and far less waste. We must mitigate climate change on crops, and most important, we must have sustainable ecosystems. What steps can be taken to stave off a global food crisis? Can anything be done? Well, organizations such as the World Bank and Economic Development Council think there are, but it's a tough row to hoe, if you'll pardon the pun. Short term, we need humanitarian aid, and we need programs such as food for work programs and ration cards that can be used to alleviate immediate need. For the mid and long term, we need a drastic revision of governance policies, foster more investment in countries and education and nutrition programs, reform trade policies by eliminating export bans, reducing tariffs and taxes. Most important, we've got to increase the productivity, and that will be done through agricultural R&D, developing drought-resistant crops, better technology. And for biofuels, develop crops and technologies that do not rely upon commodity feed supplies. We as consumers can beat rising food costs, but it requires commitment and action on our part. Some tips for you. Eat less meat and more fresh veggies. Stop impulse buying, which is probably the largest factor in high grocery costs. Use coupons. They're available on many sites. Shop where the deals are. Buy store brands rather than pricey name brands. Learn to cook and stop buying expensive prepared foods. Raise fruits and vegetables, and shop at produce stands and farmers markets. In summary, demand will continue to increase and prices are likely to keep rising over the next decade. We can no longer ignore that there is a food crisis, and we must deal with it now. We can no longer stick our heads in the sand and pretend that it is not happening. The resolution must come through technology and governance to increase production and supply. We've got to both shop and eat a lot smarter. With effort, this case can be solved and we can win the battle, but it's going to take working together and a concerted effort to make it happen. Thanks for listening and for your time. And remember to eat and shop smart. Thank you.